I'd rather have a lot of money than no money. I've been both. I've been broke, I've been down, everything, but I'd rather have a lot of money. So it was worth my purpose to get over here. The big mistakes I see young people making is here. You know, they think about what they want to do, what they love. And what I'm saying to you, the millennials right now, invest in what you love. I'll leave you one last word that's very, very important for people to understand at a young age. And the word is called liquidity. The reason this is better for most people is because it's liquid. You can buy a stock, you make a mistake, you get out. You buy an ETF, you make a mistake, you get out. It's good, it's important. The moment you go into real estate, you're not liquid. That's why you got to be smarter going in, because if you make a mistake, you can't get out. You buy a bad piece of property, you write it down. And the same as businesses, you're in there, you're solid, you can't get out. Like if Rich Dad's gotten in trouble, with money, like all businesses are, I can't quit. Employees just quit and they leave. They run like little rats, But if you're in here or here, you can't get out. So that's why liquidity is crucial. But the reason I had to learn to raise money was because I had no money. And so if you read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, in there, my rich dad always said, never say, I can't afford it. And it was my rich dad and many of my teachers subsequent to that. They said, lazy people always say, I can't afford it. I don't have the money. That's why they're poor. They have a poor mindset. So instead of figuring out how to raise money, it's just really easy to be a loser. And I call it losers. It pisses them off. Because we all have the power, if we wanted to not be poor if we learned how to raise money. And so I've never been able, ever since my rich dad, since a little boy, my rich dad forbade me from ever saying, I can't afford it. He says, figure out how you can afford it. How can you do something? Figure out how you can do something. Only lazy people use their own money. And that's what really pissed off a lot of people out there. Because, you calling me lazy? I said, yes, I am. Mm-hmm. Because you're the same type of person who will say, I can't afford it. I can't do that. That's the problem. It's up here. It's the real estate between this ear and that ear. I can't do that. So number one is invest in what you love. I love business. I love real estate. I mean, I really love it. I own this building here. And I love gold and silver. So I invest in what I love. Mm-hmm. Most people say, do what you love, but I rather invest in what I love. But I love being an entrepreneur. I love investing. It's like Shark Tank to me. I'm always looking at new businesses, new deals. It's just a game like this. Mm-hmm. When you look at the financial statement, that's like your scorecard. It's like your golf scorecard is your financial statement. But as you know, our schools teach us nothing about financial statements. So it's one of the most important messages I have for entrepreneurs is that failure should inspire you to get smarter. And unfortunately, our school system says if you fail, you're stupid. That is not true. We learn from our mistakes. Mistakes are opportunities to get smarter, be humble, and take a look at something. So anyway, the cash flow board game, just like Slack, was a failure. Most of the young people your age today, a lot of them want to become entrepreneurs. The problem with this, you have to understand tax. You see, this is all over the world, very little difference. These guys pay 40% of their money in taxes. So they make $1,000, they're going to spend $400 in taxes. These guys that make $1,000, they're going to pay 60% in tax. So our schools are teaching entrepreneurship, but they're not teaching them tax. Okay? And because they're focusing on income. Over here, it's 20% in tax. Mm-hmm. So they make $1,000, only $200 goes to tax, and these guys, 0%. So the reason financial education isn't working in our school systems is they're teaching financial education for these people and these people,
But to really become rich, you have to focus on this side here.
So the lesson to young people is don't take a job for the money, take a job for what you're learning.
Yeah.
In school, they compensate for risk by telling you to memorize the right answer. So in other words, these kids leave, young people like you, leave school thinking, oh, if I know the right answers, then there's no risk. And it drives old guys like me crazy. Because everybody's talking about millennials. What's wrong with them? You know, millennials are the most highly, in many ways, the most highly educated generation in history. They have the cell phone. They didn't get educated in school. They got educated on social media, on the cell phones. They know all the answers, but they're afraid of doing anything.
Yeah.
You know, the biggest complaint about my generation is millennials know all the answers, but they can't do anything. And the reason they can't do anything is because you might hurt somebody's feelings, you might make a mistake, you know, and that just keeps you guys just trapped in this little box here.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons I think millennial money is such an important point here, because if you're going to come into my world, old guy's world, or the information age, you've really got to understand what is risky and what is not risky. And in my world, if you play it safe, that makes you stupid. Because if you don't take risks, you don't get smarter.
Yeah.
You know, so you may know the answer, but you can't do anything.
Yeah.
And so the most important thing, if you're going to be successful in your lifetime, is get your damn brain out of the E quadrant or the S quadrant. You're working for money. You've got to get your brain into the I quadrant. I don't recommend the B quadrant. It's too hard for most people.
Yeah.
But anyway, all I focus on is here. I don't
Working
care
for
how much
assets.
money I make. All I want are assets. So the problem with most young people is they go to school to get that job, then a lot of them have student loan debt, then they try and get married and buy a house, have a car, and then they have credit card debt, but they never have the chance to come over here. If they do any investing in America, it's a 401k, which I wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. You should, but I don't, because I don't have to. Because I went to school for here, and people who don't go to school should be here. This is a 401k, IRA, ETFs, and that stuff, paper, savings.